Hi, in this video, let us discuss about dependency injection. Dependency injection is the important concept which is used in Spring Framework. So let us see code samples to understand what is dependency injection. Okay, so let us create a simple Java application which does not use any Spring Framework. Okay, so let us create a application, Java application. I name this application as um, my business. So this is my project. So in this project, so let us okay. So I have created this project, my business. So inside this project, let me create a package com.training. Inside the package, so I create a class called restaurant. So whenever we want to start a restaurant, okay, so this restaurant, for example, I want to start a vegetarian restaurant. So in order to run this restaurant, I require vegetables and groceries, right? So I create also classes for that. So I create a class called grocery shop. Okay, grocery grocery shop. Then I create a class called vegetable shop. Okay. So restaurant will get groceries and vegetables from these classes. Assume that this grocery shop and vegetable shop supply groceries and vegetables to this restaurant. Okay. So let us have a method inside the grocery shop as public void supply groceries. Supply groceries. This method simply print system.out.println simply print groceries supplied. Okay. So same way, I have a method inside the vegetable shop class as supply vegetables. Okay. Supply vegetables. So this method simply prints vegetables supplied. Okay. So now inside the restaurant class, so let us have a method prepare meal. So before serving the meal needs to be prepared. So public void prepare meal. Okay. So this method will prepare the meal. So before preparing the meal, it has to uh, get the vegetables. So it creates the object grocery shop object. Creates the grocery shop object shop. Okay. G equal to new grocery shop. So it creates this object and it calls the method, might be spelling mistake, GROCSORY. So let us call the method g dot supply groceries. So once the groceries are supplied, then we have to create the vegetable shop object inside the prepare meal method. So let us that also we do that also. Okay. So let us create the vegetable shop object and call the supply method, supply vegetables method. Now the now we have to the meal is prepared now. So now we have to serve the meal to the customer. So we let us have another method. So we have a method public void serve meal. So this method internally calls prepare meal method. Once the meal is prepared, it will print meal is served and it is out. And let us print meal is served. Okay. So now we are done with this code. Let us create a main class to run this classes. Okay. So let us create a main class with main method also. Okay. Main, and inside the main method let us create the restaurant object. Restaurant are equal to new restaurant. Then we can call the serve meal method. Okay. Let us call this serve meal method. Now let us run this code. So when we run this code, what will happen? Serve meal method is called. Inside the serve meal method, we are calling prepare meal method. And inside the prepare meal method, we create the grocery shop object and call the supply groceries method. And vegetable shop object, we create the vegetable shop object and call the supply vegetables method. So those methods also will get executed. So now let us run this code and see the output. See, groceries supplied is printed, vegetables supplied is printed. Finally, meal is served is printed. Okay. So nothing great in this code. It's a simple code. We have three Java beans. One is restaurant bean, grocery shop bean, and vegetable shop bean. Okay. Here, one important question we need to ask is, in these three classes, which class is a dependent class and which class is a independent class? We can very well understand or we can very well come to a conclusion that restaurant is a dependent class because it depends on grocery shop and vegetable shop. Because without grocery shop and vegetable shop, we cannot run a restaurant. So the restaurant class actually a dependent class, and vegetable shop and grocery shops are independent classes. Okay, so restaurant class is a dependent class, and its dependencies are grocery shop and vegetable shop. So now one idea is instead of this restaurant class create its dependencies. So we are creating grocery shop object and vegetable shop object inside the prepare meal method of the restaurant class. Instead of doing this, why don't we move this code outside the restaurant class? That is, instead of the restaurant creates its dependencies instead of restaurant creates this grocery shop and vegetable shop objects, why don't we move this into outside outside the code? So how to do that? So in order to do that, what we can do is we can declare two instance variables in restaurant class like this way. That is, we are refactoring this code now. So I do like this, make it private. Okay. Then we have also have a another instance variable of type shop. Okay. Now let us have a parameterized constructor. Okay, so let us have a parameterized constructor, and we can uh, include this parameterized constructor here. So now we have a parameterized constructor. This constructor takes two parameters, grocery shop and vegetable shop objects, and we are assigning these object references to these variables g and p. Now we can remove these codes. Okay, so now what we can do is we can go to the main class, and inside the main class we can create the grocery shop object and vegetable shop object inside the main class. Pass these objects to the restaurant class. So now we get the grocery shop object here. And we get the vegetable shop object also inside the main class. So now we can pass this grocery shop object and vegetable shop object inside the restaurant constructor. We are passing these objects to the constructor of restaurant. So now the objects, now we pass these dependencies to the restaurant object. Now the restaurant object does not create the objects. So but these objects are passed to the constructor. Okay, main class create these objects, and they are passed to the constructor. So this concept is called dependency injection. See, these dependencies, the grocery shop and vegetable shop are dependencies. These dependencies are injected to the restaurant object. So this is called dependency injection. So what is the advantage? Advantage is now the restaurant doesn't need to worry about how to create these objects. It will be taken care by the main class. Okay. So now the same concept we are going to implement it in Spring framework. So let us see how to do it in Spring. Okay. So for that, let us create a project. Okay. Let us create a project now, which is a Maven's project. Okay. It is a Maven project. We are using Maven. Okay. So we will create a Maven project now. Okay. So let us select this create simple project and give the this group ID and artifact ID, and artifact ID. Artifact ID is the project name. You can give a project like dependency demo. Okay, so this is the name which you would like to give this. So now let us click finish. Okay, so now this project would be created for us. So once the project is created for us, now we can go to the form.xml, and we need to add the entries, that is the dependencies, that is the which jar files we require. For those jar files we need the entry here. So for that we can copy from the existing project. Copy the dependency, copy the form.xml entries from the existing project and we can paste it here. Okay, so let us do this now. So this is the one. So now let us paste it and save this part. So now the form.xml entries are ready now. Okay, so next thing is we need the restaurant bean and vegetable shop bean and grocery shop beans. So these beans are also available. Let us create these. Let us copy these beans from the existing project now. Okay, let me copy this and keep it inside the src main menu. So now we have the grocery restaurant bean is available, grocery shop is available, vegetable shop, they are all available now. So you can see this class code now. So restaurant class we have, so we can have this grocery shop variable as global provision store, and vegetable shop variable name is instance variable name is Murugan vegetable mart, and we have a default constructor, and we also have a parameterized constructor, and we have prepare meal and serve meal methods. Okay, so now we need to configure these beans into in the xml file, right? We need to configure these beans into xml file. So for that we need to have a xml file, so we can also copy that xml file from the existing project. So let us have this. So there is a XML file called application context.xml file. We don't have to give the same name. We can give any name to the XML file. That is not a problem. So let us copy this file here. And now it is copied. Now we can go through this XML file now. So inside the XML file, you can see we have configured the grocery shop bean at line number 9. So we use the bean tag. We have given ID as provision store, class name as com.training.grocery shop. Then bean ID as vegetable shop, class name as com.training.vegetable shop. Then we configure the restaurant bean at line number 14. Bean ID as Shri Bhavan, class name as com.training.restaurant. See, the important point here is the line number 16 and 17. We are using the tag called constructor-org, and reference we give the ID provision store. So what happen is when the Spring container sees these entries, what this will do, what the container will do. By seeing the line number 9, the Spring container will create the grocery shop object reference, and the reference name would be given as the ID name. At line number 11, by seeing that ID 11, line number 11, the Spring container will create the object of vegetable shop. And when it sees the line number 14, it will call the parameterized constructor of restaurant, and it will pass this object reference to the constructor. So it is dependency injection. Okay, so now the last part is we need to have a main class. Okay, so we have to have a main class now. So main class also available now because we have copied all the code from the existing project. So inside the main class you see that at line number 11 we have created the object of class path XML application context, which is nothing but the Spring container. We pass the application context.xml file to the constructor. Then we call getBean method and we pass the ID Shri Bhavan and the restaurant.class. This method will return you the restaurant object reference. Now we can call the serveMeal method. So here we have seen how the dependencies are injected to the restaurant bean. So now the restaurant bean is injected with the dependencies of its dependencies. Its dependencies are vegetable shop object and grocery shop object. They are injected by the Spring container. Okay. So now let us run this code and see the output now. Now you can see the console. So you can see inside default constructor of grocery shop is printed because when the Spring containers see the entry of bean tag entry for grocery shop, it will create the it will call the default constructor of the grocery shop. So we are getting this printout, and it will create the vegetable shop object. So we are getting the default constructor. This is printed. Now it will call the restaurant parameterized constructor. So this printout is seen. Then supply groceries method is called, supply vegetables method was called, meal is prepared was called, and when the prepare meal method is called, meal is prepared is printed. When the serve meal method is called, meal is served is printed. So in this way, uh, Spring container helps us to create the dependencies, and it will inject these dependencies. It is called wiring. It is called wiring a bean. Okay, so this is about